we said. It was like the boogeyman of the metagame. It was the first thing you consider when you're building a deck, and then you start to think about, but can this beat everything else? And it went up against the first hurdle. I took down what I meant to, but now when we're going into something a bit more flexible for a match, how do we adapt there?
Yeah, and I think when it comes to those things specifically, I've got to give a slight edge to Peter Kica. The way Luke has built his deck, he's got a lot of darkness type attackers. The Hoopa V, got the Crobat VMAX in there. Also has the Zamazenta V from Brilliant Stars as a tech for the Whimsicott matchup. Those things are really good when you're against those specific matchups. But if you're not playing against them, if you're playing against an Arceus deck, they become a little bit weaker. But Peter, on the other side, his preparation for the Mew VMAX matchup is through Beedrill, using that Persist Sting attack to just one-hit KO a Pokemon that has a special energy. So where Luke's Pokemon are not super good in this matchup, the Pokemon that he's brought as techs for the expected meta, Peter's techs for the expected meta will still pay off and will still be very good against the Arceus Mirror. Having that double turbo energy we've seen throughout yesterday and today, how important it is to very quickly get that Trinity Nova or Trinity Charge to accelerate to your attacker becomes a detriment if you're under pressure of the Beedrill. We've seen both sides of this Pokemon where it comes down as a surprise attacker, gets a KO, or it just gets set up on the bench, and then you're under pressure. I can't attach this double turbo until I answer the Beedrill. Well, I'm super excited for this match, Adam. I know our players are excited. I know all the people watching in the venue are excited, and I know all of you watching at home are excited. Let's get down to the table. Let's get this finals match underway. We see Luke Smith there on the left playing his Arceus Darkness type deck. Some of his achievements here, as we mentioned, a regional champion in the seniors division back in 2019. And then as a master, ended up getting top 64 at the Atlantic City Regional Championships. And his deck will be featuring Arceus V-Star and Crobat VMAX. Another achievement they forgot to list, I heard that Luke Smith was actually a finalist at the 2022 Secaucus Regional Championship. Yes, that is definitely one at a minimum to add to the accolades. I'm sure Luke would love to change that from finalist to winner, though. Over on the other side, Peter Kica, a very well-known and respected player in the community, someone who is known for playing spicy decks and bringing some unique techs to different tournaments. Has a lot of achievements as well. Multiple top 16 finishes at regional championships, multiple top 8s as well. Also an NAIC top 32. But now he is going to be trying to get the victory. His Arceus V-Star deck will be featuring Beedrill as opposed to the Crobat VMAX on Luke's side. The single strike Beedrill. I think out of all of the interesting tech that the players have experimented with and have found use for, this has been probably the most off the wall for me. What an inventive combo. The first time I saw that single strike mustard, pull the Beedrill directly out of the deck, onto the bench, get that Persist Sting to get the KO on any Pokemon with the special energy attached. And then it fell off a bit. People were like, oh, maybe it's a bit too hard to pull together, but it's got enough respect that the Mew players are actually starting to tech in Big Parasol. Nothing too bad in the prize cards for either player. A couple of search cards on Peter's side could be a little annoying. One, Drizzile in the prizes. Luke Smith, on the other end, did prize one of the Sharon's Care. That can definitely be a big deal, especially since it's there at the top of the prize cards. So unlikely that that's a piece that Luke will take to have access to throughout the game. When it comes down to Arceus v Arceus, we have a lot of HP on both sides, but not a lot of attack power outright. If you can throw off your opponent's timing and tempo with that Sharon's Care, it can be a huge detriment, buying yourself one or two more turns. And here we go, Adam. The finals match is underway. It looks like Luke Smith will be going first, and he's got a solid start, throwing an energy card onto the Arceus V and wisely choosing to attach a basic energy, because a turn one mustard is definitely something Peter could have pulled off. And Peter has a much slower turn, just an attachment to Arceus and a pass. Does have two Sobbles in play, though, which is very nice. The turn one attachment, super important here. Luke now going into the deck with the quick ball, going to find the Crobat with Luke Smith's build. Even though there are darkness attackers, it does give a lot more utility around the Crobat V. You can set it up, get that dark asset, and then it's not just a dead card on the bench that just sits there, takes up space. You can
pivot and turn it into an attacker with the Crobat VMAX.
And that's one of the things that makes the Crobat VMAX so useful for this deck. Obviously, a solid darkness-type attacker, useful in the Mew VMAX matchup. But the fact that it evolves from such a good basic Pokemon V that you can use to draw you cards, to add consistency to your deck, makes it a really popular choice as an attacking option for these Arceus decks. Luke also does have the Path to the Peak in play, so that's something he can put down after drawing a few cards with Crobat. Looking for an Arceus V-Star, and there it is, the last card.
Beautiful.
Finds the Arceus V-Star, and now Starbirth can fetch any 2 cards out of the deck.
Might want to take stock of the resources before activating that Starbirth. It is such an important ability if you use it right away. It looks like Luke wants to go for this tempo immediately. Maybe get the KO on the Sobble. Take 1 prize. Can we switch out this Arceus V, bring it up to the active, maybe get a KO there?
Luke does play the pieces to pull that play off. I didn't see quite everything in the hand, but if Luke has a Choice Belt, a Zigzagoon, and a Boss's Orders, he actually can knock out this Arceus V on turn 1. And one of those cards off Starbirth definitely looked like a Choice Belt, and the other one is Galarian Zigzagoon.
That's massive!
He has the full play here. Zigzagoon pings 10 damage to the bench, Choice Belt to the active, Boss's Orders brings it up, and the Path to the Peak, adding insult to injury, taking a big KO, leaving Peter Kica with only 2 Lonely Sobbles in play.
Gigantic knockout, denying the potential for the evolution into the Starbirth, no energy acceleration, and now with Path to the Peak in play, Peter is left with just 2 Lonely Sobbles versus in 99% complete setup from Luke Smith. We talked about the tech not being that great, but if you can just get the raw tempo advantage here in the early turns, you're cruising easy to victory.
Peter's hand is terrible. A Grass Energy, a Beedrill, Sobble, Training Court, and Pal Pad. Almost completely unplayable. He can attach an energy and use Keep Calling to fetch the 4th Sobble out of the deck. But no supporter card, no Drizziles, no level balls, no Arceus V to replace on the bench. I was going to say before Peter started his turn that he could theoretically have a really good turn where he pops off with a Rapid Strike Mustard, gets the Training Court in play, and just takes a response knockout and immediately ties the game back up. But after looking at this hand, Peter has very few options, and Luke is just going to start his turn right away.
Just a mediocre response, unfortunately, and Luke is in the driver's seat, has the Arceus V-Star properly set up. The bench still has 1 more slot left on it for any other draw Pokemon being played. Ultra Ball, maybe looking for the Bibarel here.
Yeah, Bibarel very strong in Luke's deck, where Peter is relying on the Shady Dealings, Drizziles, and Inteleon. Luke relies on those big, strong teeth on the Beaver Pokemon. Industrious Incisors can fill your hand up to 5 cards once during your turn. And with 2 Bidoofs in play, Luke could potentially get multiple Bibarels and just draw a bunch of cards every single turn.
Another really awesome tech from the community that's risen to prominence here. The Bibarel, it started off as a 1-1, and now we're up to 2-2.
Yeah,
it's slowly taking over, Chip.
A very solid deck inclusion for many players. I think Xander Perot, one of the first players to really popularize it, getting top 8 at the Salt Lake City Regional Championships. Of course, Drew Kennett as well, winning the Salt Lake City Regional Championships with Bibarel and his Arceus Gengar VMAX deck. Definitely has started to see an increase in play and be a little bit more favorable in certain situations than the Inteleon engine.
The Pal Pad putting the Boss's Orders back in the deck means that Luke Smith is going to continue to dictate the pace of this game. Takes down the Sobble,
Peter
gets 1 prize. And let's see what it is.
It's a level ball that can find Drizzile. Does that mean Peter can pull off a Beedrill here? I think it actually does. This level ball can go get a Drizzile. Drizzile can go get an Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball can thin 2 cards out of the hand, go get another Drizzile. That Drizzile can get Single Strike Mustard. Peter can put the Training Court in play, and then now all Peter would need on the other end of this Mustard is a Scoop Up Net to move this Drizzile out of the active and take a 1-hit KO on Arceus V-Star.
The Grass Energy is in the discard as well for that Training Court.
Yes.
It's all set up. It's all coming together. This is the moment of opportunity for Peter to come back into this game, getting that KO, also getting 2 prize cards, reinforcing the hand.
It's not over just yet. There is the single strike mustard. If it is the last card in your hand, you can search your deck for a single strike Pokemon. Even though Beedrill is a stage 2, you get to ignore Weedle, ignore Kakuna, just throw the Beedrill in play, and now all Peter needs is a switching card, and Beedrill can come up and respond and take a KO on Arceus V-Star. And if that happens, Peter is honestly right back in this game.
Getting those prizes is going to be huge. Getting 5 cards as well from the single strike mustard's effect. And I gotta say, Beedrill is one of the most terrifying Pokemon pound for pound. Not only is it just going to one-shot this Arceus V-Star, but
I don't think Peter got a way to move the active. He has everything else he needs with the training court in play, but those are quick balls in hand. Those cannot get the Drizzile, so there is no way to search out a scoop-up net to move this active.
One step short of completing the combination to come back into the game. Is this really going to be where the dream ends here in game 1? This is the finals. You can't fall this far behind. If the Beedrill stranded on the bench, Luke shuffled in 2 boss's orders the last turn. Can find that, snipe it before it becomes an issue with the Persist Sting.
Peter can definitely still win, but it is becoming more difficult with each and every miss. He can attach an energy to Arceus V on this turn and try to set up for a Trinity Nova on the next turn, maybe just get access to the Starbirth at least to set multiple plays up. Peter also, in addition to the Beedrill, does play the Galarian Zapdos V and a basic fighting energy, and that is a huge tech in this matchup and in this deck in general, since it can easily one-hit KO fighting weak Pokemon like Arceus and like Crobat V and VMAX, and Luke has yet to bench a Dunsparce. I wonder if Luke is even aware that Peter plays Galarian Zapdos.
If you don't respect it, it can come out to haunt you. Not even the Beedrill coming out as a surprise, but Galarian Zapdos coming out as a surprise and throwing you off of your game could be massive here, especially in game 1 where techs like that are at their strongest when your opponent might not be fully aware.
Luke, making use of his opponent's Stadium card, can grab back the Darkness Energy and is just going to retreat. And looks like Crobat VMAX is getting in there, taking a KO, can use the Max Cutter for 180 damage. And this would be a decent opening for Peter to maybe pull off a Raihan play with the Galarian Zapdos and take a surprise 3-prize knockout, but it's going to be much more difficult now that Path to the Peak has come down.
Path to the Peak now in play. Crobat is going to take that knockout. One more prize, 2 left for Luke to close out the first game here.
Another key thing, Luke retreated the double turbo energy off of the Arceus V-Star, meaning Beedrill is kind of useless in this instance. It can use its second attack, Jet Spear, to deal 110 damage, but that's not super helpful. Peter here doesn't look like top-decked anything super strong. Is he just going to be going with Jet Spear? I think it's Boss's Orders was the top deck.
Trying to snipe something off of the back line.
No, just going to Jet Spear here, hit the active, deals 110. Luke Smith with just 2 prizes remaining.
This is a terrible outcome for Peter here in the first game, where you're forced to just promote single prize Pokemon, trying to stall and buy yourself more and more turns. Hasn't even yet been able to access the Starbirth ability, has been really left dead. That opening play that Luke had, being able to boss up that Arceus V and knock it out before it was able to evolve and get that Starburst, was so monumental in snowballing to this position.
The second Beedrill in play is super nice as well. Luke's just going to be able to draw more and more cards every single turn, assuming that he's able to thin the hand size down low enough. Looks like not quite able to get below 5 in this instance, but still can Trinity Nova for a solid amount of damage. Takes the KO, can take 1 more prize card, will shuffle the deck, and grab, let's see, either that Sharon's Care or the Darkness Energy. Looks like Sharon's Care is left in the prizes for the next game.
And so now 1 more draw for Peter, 1 more turn potentially. The only way to bring this back is to get Galarian Zapdos, maybe to kick this Arceus V-Star out of the active and survive 1 hit from Crobat.
Peter might be trying to just buy a turn here, hope that Luke does not have a way to retreat the active. We see double turbo energy is in the hand. Luke flashes the double turbo energy, lets him know, hey, I've got this option to move my active, and we can move on to game 2. Luke Smith will win game number 1 of the finals.
We thought that the techs wouldn't matter, but just having a big darkness attacker, something with a lot of HP, certainly did. Smartly retreating, getting rid of that double turbo energy, diffusing the B drill was so beautiful to see here in the first game.
Peter just really did not get set up in that first game. His opening hand was so bad. A bunch of Sobbles and an Arceus with an energy, that's all things you love to see, but you still need something to follow it up. You need to play a supporter, get a Drizzile, find some level balls, Evolution Incense, so many live cards that Peter could have drawn. It just didn't quite go his way in game number 1, but we've got a total of 75 minutes, 63 minutes remaining here in this finals match. So plenty of time for Peter to try to force a game 3 and still take the victory in this regionals.
Peter's strong suit here in this set is his experience.
Yes.
And he's, again, just remaining calm and collected, getting the bad luck out of the way and going for a clean 2-0. The rest of the matches here in the top 8 were all 2-1, so we was almost expected that this would go to a game 3, and Peter is more than happy to oblige.
Nothing too bad in the prizes here for Peter. Once again, a couple of searching cards. The second Crobat for Luke could be relevant if he, needs to use a second one to try and draw more cards. I do imagine that Peter will be going first. It's what you want to do here in this mirror. And no, Peter's opening hand is terrible.
Once again.
3 basic energy, a Zapdos, looks like a scoop up net. Evolution Incense isn't out to start drawing cards with a Drizzile on the next turn. So he's got that at least, but no energy on an Arceus. He just has to attach to Sobble and pass.
Attach and pass. And back over to Luke, the double turbo energy connecting with the Arceus V, setting up the strong foundation for follow-up turns. But Peter has to find a way out. Evolution Incense into the Drizzile can certainly make miracles happen.
A few energy can be accelerated out of the deck here with the Trinity Charge. I think Luke had a few different options there in this hand. So even though he didn't play any other additional cards, he's got some solid stuff he's sitting on, I think. Peter has the Evolution Incense, so he'll be able to get out of this spot. I wonder if he can pull off a Beedrill. I think it's going to be pretty tough with so many energies in hand.
With the double turbo there, it is finally back on the table. Top deck into a Pal Pad, another card that you can't use as of yet.
Yeah, Beedrill Dreams are not coming true in this turn. Peter may just have to go with a research, potentially a Marnie, and reset and hope to find a better hand. And he is definitely playing off the back foot, which is not what you want to be doing, especially when you just lost game number 1.
The game loss from the first game was on the back of Arceus V from Luke Smith when it just evolved, got that key KO, set Peter so far behind, unable to recover. Evolution Incense finding the Drizzile, trying to get something into play. So do you look for research here, Chip? I think that's got to be the out.
I don't know, because you lose a Choice Belt, which can be a pretty important card to chase down Arceus Vs on the bench. You also lose the Zapdos, or you have to bench it, which means you lose the surprise factor, which Peter talked about that after his round 14 match when we interviewed him on the stream, how he loves being able to just surprise people out of nowhere with the Galarian Zapdos. And Luke did not bench Dunsparce that last game. He did keep his bench size low when it came to how many Pokemon V were around, so Thunderous Kick wouldn't have quite been able to get powered up thanks to the Fighting Instinct ability. It only gets activated whenever your opponent has a bunch of Pokemon V in play. So we'll see. It does look like Peter opted for the Marnie and is going to choose to play this card, and now really needs a lot of help. Only 5 cards to come here, Adam.
5 cards between victory and defeat.
Needs to, at minimum, find a basic Pokemon here. Does get at least a Quick Ball and also an Energy, but no supporters that can be used to draw cards. He's got plenty of supporters. The Raihan, the Sharon's Care, and the Boss.
Has reactivity to what Luke might do, but if you let your opponent take one more turn from this position, you could fall too far behind. Going to discard the Boss's orders and has to find a Pokemon here to bench. Arceus V being eyeballed, and hopefully Luke Smith can't put together a similar combo from game 1 being able to bring it up to the active and tie together the Zigzagoon with the choice belt. Another nightmare scenario would be the final nail in the coffin for Peter. Unfortunately, this is the potential final game of the finals of the Secaucus Regionals, and Luke Smith is feeling very comfortable from this position.
I've got some bad news for Peter. Luke Smith is sitting on an Evolution Incense in hand, which can go get Arceus V-Star. And off the Arceus V-Star, all Luke Smith has to grab is Boss's Orders and Choice Belt. He's got an Air Balloon in hand. He can move this active Arceus V to the bench, and Boss's Orders can take a knockout on this Arceus V because that benched Arceus V has all basic energy on it.
No damage reduction from the double turbo. It's all coming together. It looks like Luke Smith is going to be able to take advantage of the tempo that was gained.
And that's exactly what Luke is going to do. Evolves the benched Arceus V-Star. You can tell he's moving quickly. He understands that this is a very good position for him. V-Star marker flipped over. Let's see if those two cards are grabbed. Boss's Orders is number 1. Choice Belt number 2. Luke Smith sees the play. He's going for it.
He's going for it. He's shuffling. He's salivating. He's closing in on the victory. Only needs to flash these 2 cards. Peter Kica knows I've fallen too far behind 2 games in a row. Choice Belt. Boss's Orders. Air Balloon onto the Arceus V.
Has an Air Balloon to put on the Bidoof as well. He's actually going to just retreat the double turbo off the active, which is really smart as well because now Peter can't use Beedrill for it. Luke is so far ahead in this game. Peter is left with just a Drizzile.
Once again, getting rid of the double turbo, respecting the Beedrill's comeback potential. This is what Peter's deck is designed to do. You fall a little bit far behind, then you come roaring back with these surprise plays.
See. Needs a big top deck here. It's a double turbo energy. He has a Raihan in hand that he can play to get 1 additional card out of the deck, but that's not helpful at all. He can't even pull together an attack this turn.
Raihan into... What's even the cards you can pull here?
I mean,
Inteleon?
I guess, and then you can get 2 trainer cards out of the deck, which can grab you the Zapdos and the Training Court, but then you don't get the fighting energy. And
you have to get a basic Pokemon to put on the bench. Otherwise, you're going to just be out of Pokemon. It'll be the first time I've seen this on a regional broadcast.
Peter plays a ton of different energy types in his deck, but one that he does not play is basic water energy. So there is no option to go for an Aqua Bullet on Inteleon or anything like that. He's got basic grass, basic darkness, and basic fighting. Water did not make the cut for this tournament, though.
And so with that being said, it looks like the Galarian Zapdos V is being eyeballed here. Seems to be the only option. And after the turn passes back to Luke Smith, Drizzile goes down, and Zapdos will be having the weight of the world on its tiny shoulders.
Inteleon is the grab from the Raihan. This can get any 2 trainer cards from the deck. Shady Dealings, one of the strongest abilities in the game. We have seen it so much this weekend, and it's really no surprise. Just the consistency that this whole evolution line provides to so many different decks. Drizzile having the Shady Dealings ability as well. Just so powerful, and no surprise at all that we've seen it throughout the entire weekend and that it has made it all the way here to the finals.
When you're trying to claw your way back into a game, looking through your deck for the specific cards you need for that moment is the key. Palpad and Quick Ball picked up here. Palpad going to be cashed in and putting Raihan and Marnie back into the deck.
I'm sure Peter would have loved to have grabbed one of these supporter cards off of the Shady Dealings, but he just didn't have the option to. Has a Quick Ball, is going to ditch the Sharon's Care, has the double turbo energy in hand, does throw the Zapdos down, so I think Peter's play this turn is to put a double turbo energy on Zapdos, go to a 0-card hand, and just hope to top deck something on the next turn, and hope that he can find a way to claw back in this match.
Going down to 0 cards, top decking that single strike Mustard could be the way to go. If it's the last
would be
card,
pretty good.
Oh, that would be legendary here in the finals.
Luke Smith, though, all he needs is a Boss's Orders. If he can pull off a boss, he has the option to just take out Zapdos and leave Peter with an Inteleon that would have 2 energies on it, but none that are useful.
Got a Professor's Research. We have the Palpad.
Let's see if Luke can... I was just going to go ahead with the Research, not worry about going with a boss, putting the Palpad, using the Palpad, putting the boss back, and going from there. Does not play anything like Escape Rope in the list. That would be another way that he could force the Zapdos to the active spot this turn, so it looks like he'll just have to be content knocking out this Inteleon and hopefully being able to deal with the Zapdos in future turns, which with another Arceus V ready to go, he's only one Arceus V star away from that being a reality.
Evolutionists finds the Bibarel, sets up the Industrious Incisors. I think from this position, you don't mind losing out on the boss's orders because you're swinging in on whatever's in the active and just working your way to victory. 4 prize cards left, even if Peter does not run out of Pokemon in play and automatically lose, you're going to close out the game yourself by taking these prizes.
And Luke knows Peter has a 0-card hand, so he knows that Peter is relying on whatever this top deck may be. The path to the peak as well.
And there's the knockout onto the Inteleon. All of those cards go to the discard pile.
It comes down to this, Adam. What is this draw from Peter Kica? It's an Arceus V-Star, and that's it. The tournament's over. Peter Kica extends the hand, and Luke Smith has become the Secaucus Regional Champion.
Luke Smith played well, stuck to his guns. The tech paid off to beat Mew, and then Arceus took over for the mirror match. Played clean, even being so far ahead, you have to sequence your plays properly, and takes this match with humility and respect.
Wow, congratulations to Luke. What a well-played match. Congratulations, of course, to Peter as well.